knowing that this is a blueprint of your final, okay? Something we're going to do is we're going to take these different matrices and we're going to solve each problem individually. So right now, what I'd like you guys to do for problem number 9, right, the dimensions of matrix T. And all I want you to do is when you look at this problem is just focus on what T is. What are the dimensions? How many rows does T have? It has 2 rows. How many columns? 3 columns. Therefore, if you had a multiple choice for this particular one, the answer would be H. Are you going to have this easy of a problem on your final? Yes. What? You have to be able to identify the dimensions of a matrix. They're not all going to be this easy, but you're going to have to be able to identify just the dimensions. So get the easy ones right. There's no reason you guys should miss this. Okay? So there's problem number 9. All right, moving on to 10. We're going to scroll down just a little bit more. Number 10. There we go. Let's look at it. And it says we need to do the first row of T. The first row of T, right here. There's the first row of T. And we need to add it to the first row of V. Right here. Now, how many elements are in this row? How many elements are in this row? And in order to add matrices, they have to be the exact same dimensions. So since these do not have the exact same dimensions, the answer you would choose would be not possible. So you have to look. Now, we would need an extra number right over here for that to work. Okay, that's inside the matrix. So if you have 3 elements in a row, you also need to have 3 more elements in the exact same row. So answer 10 would be not possible. This is easy so far. What do we do now? Number 11. Let's look at number 11. It says the first row of U. So I'm going to highlight the first row of U. And it says take away the first row of T. So I'm going to highlight the first row of T. Am I allowed to attempt this problem? Yes, yes I am. So here's what I want you to do in your journal. I'm going to right now first write the first row. Just the first row of what? U, which is a 3, a 0, and a -2. And then I'm going to take away the first row of T. And the first row of T is a -11, a 7, and a 5. Now we got to be really, really, really careful here because this is a minus, right? And that's a minus, so we got to be careful about that. So if I have, I'll put the answer in green, everybody. The answer will be whatever U minus T is. We have 3 minus a -11. So what's going to happen? It's going to make it a plus, so it's going to be a 14. We have a 0 minus a 7. That's going to make that a -7. And we have a -2 minus a 5. -7. So my answer is 14, -7, -7, which ends up in this particular case being answer choice F. So far, would you guys agree 9, 10, and 11 are relatively simple? Okay? No reason for you guys to miss these. Just take your time. Do what the problem tells you to do. Okay? All right. Number 12. What does it, number 12 tell you to do? The first row of -4U. So let's look at U. I'm going to highlight the first row. You see that? That's right. So we're going to take the first row. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to take the first row, which is a 3, a 0, and a -2, and you're going to multiply that sucker by a what? By a -4, and that's going to be your final answer. So what's your final answer? Don't tell me the letter.
-12, 0, 8.
-12, 0, and an 8. So we scan it. Hey, look, it's answer choice C. All right, moving down to problem number 13. All right, it says 4Q minus P. All right, so 4 times Q. Get that. Oh, there's Q right up there. Move it down just a bit. So it says the first row of 4q minus p. So we're dealing with just the first row. So here we go. Here's the first row of q right there. The first row of p right here. So we're going to take 4, everybody, and we're going to multiply that to the first row, and then we're going to take away the first row of p. So we're going to put a 1 right here and a 2 right there. We're going to put a 0 and a 14, because that represents the first row of p. Now we're going to scale this up. So what's this going to be scaled up? That's simply a 4 and an 8. And what do we have to take away? A 0 and a 14. So our final answer, I'll do it in green. We have 4 minus 0, so that's simply a 4. And 8 minus 14, which is negative 6. So we have 4 and negative 6. So this answer would be G. Once again, just follow the instructions. This one's going to be tricky, guys. Number 14's kind of a tricky one, so I need you guys' help. Can you guys give me the matrix for U? Just give me row by row the matrix of U.
3, 0, negative 2.
3, 0, what?
Negative 2.
Negative 2, what's the bottom?
4, negative 9, negative 3.
4, negative 9, negative 3. So that's U. And what is V?
2, 4.
2, 4, negative 1, 0. 3, negative 1. Right, the first row. So let's think about this. Right now, I want you guys to set this up. This right here is U. This right here is V. What are the dimensions of U? U is equal to a 2 by 3. V is equal to a 3 by 2. Can you do it? Yes. What's our final result going to be? A 2 by 2. So listen, if these numbers what? If these numbers right here match, our final result will be the outside numbers. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. It said the first row, and only the first row, right? So we're going to highlight the first row. And then we're going to highlight this column, and we're going to highlight this column, because this row needs to be multiplied to this column, and this row needs to be multiplied to this column. So right now, get that ready to go, and I'm going to set it up right here for everybody to see. Here's my final answer, what it's going to be. I'm going to start out with the 3. I'm going to multiply the 3 times a 2. Then I'm going to say plus 0 times negative 1 plus negative 2 times 3. First number times the first number plus second number times the second number plus third number times the third number. That's the pattern. Okay? Over here, I'm going to say 3 times 4. So the first number times the first. Plus the second number, which is 0, times the second number here, which is also a 0, plus negative 2 times a negative 1. And by the way, I'm going to pause the video here for a second while you guys kind of write this down. All right? I want you guys to look at the pattern. You see how I have a 3, a 0, and a negative 2? A 3, a 0, and a negative 2? But what numbers are changing? The numbers that are in the columns. 2, negative 1, 3. 4, 0, negative 1. There's your 4, 0, negative 1. I'm going to pause it. Now, what's the product right here? We have a what? We have a 6. We have a 0. And we have a negative 6. So when we add all those together, we get a whole lot of nothing. Over here, we've got a 12. We've got a 0. And we've got a positive 2, which makes that a 14. So in this particular case, it looks like our answer will be C. Right there. Okay? So we had to take the first row of U and multiply it to actually both columns of V. All right? All right, guys. It says we need to find the inverse of R, which means we need to find R to the negative 1. I need to know what R is actually equal to. So what is matrix R, Shane, actually equal to? Look at R. Tell me.
1.
1.
1
half.
0.
0.
Negative 1.
-1/4. Okay. So I want you guys to write R down in your journal. Okay? Now, there is a formula, listen, for the inverse of R. The inverse of R would equal 1 over A times D minus B times C times D. So it's being A. That's a negative B. That's a negative C. And so if you label this A, B, C, and D, you could use this formula right here by hand, or you could be lazy and use the calculator, which we're going to do. Because this part of the test is the calculator version of the test. So if you needed to do it in the calculator, you can use your skills in the calculator. So here we go. We're going to go to the calculator right now. Make sure you've written this down. Make sure you have R down, because I'm going to need those points. So I'm going to go to my calculator. Turning it on. Oh yeah, it's okay. Calculators understand decimals and. All right. Now listen. What you're going to do is you're going to hit second x to the negative 1. You're going to go to the right where it says edit. You're going to make it a 2 by 2. And Shane, could you give me those numbers again? Was it a 1? And a 1/2? 1 divided by 2. Then a 0. Then a negative 1 divided by 4. So what does the calculator do? It puts everything as a decimal. That's okay. So that's matrix A, which is kind of, think of it as matrix R. Okay? So at this point, I want you guys to hit second mode. Then I want you to actually go back to your matrix, second x to the negative 1, select it, and just raise it to the power of negative 1, which means the inverse of our matrix. And press enter. And that right there is a 1, 2, 0, -4. That's the inverse, by the way. This would be, in our problem, that was the inverse of R. The calculator can be useful in the calculator section of the test if you remember all the steps of how to use it. Okay? All right, so right here, it says the dimensions of V times T. So by the way, could you guys give me the dimensions of V? Look at V. 2 by 4?
Oh.
V is a 2 by 4? Give me a V. It's 2 by 3? Or a 3 by 4? You know what? I'm going to go back up and I'm going to look at V. Where's V? V. It is 3 by 2. Those are 3 rows by 2 columns. Here we go, everybody. V is a 3 by 2. What is T?
2 by 3.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Does everybody agree? Do I have another person that says it's 2 by 3? You agree? 2 by 3? 2 by 3. By the way, are we allowed to multiply V times T together?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, we are. And what's our final answer going to eventually be? A 3. So the answer is. So understand, what do you need to do? You need to label the dimensions of V. You need to label the dimensions of T, and then figure out whether or not you can multiply them together. Okay? Very easy problem if you just do what the problem asks you to do.